Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Welcome into the Fairways of Life show on this Wednesday as we sit now. It's the morning, but it's the eve of the start of the FedEx Cup Playoff, the FedEx St Jude Championship. We've got some sound coming in from some different players, which I'll have for you momentarily. One of whom I think you would have to say is a prohibitive favorite to win the FedEx Cup, and I'll tell you who it is, Xander. If he wins, does that make him the player of the year compared to Scottie Scheffler? The debate rages, and the reason why the debate came up again was because, and it will keep coming up, and I think rightfully so, Viktor Hovland was asked yesterday, what do you think? Who do you have as a player of the year right now? And Viktor said, I like two majors. Okay, well, that's Xander versus Scottie, who's won 1 million times with one major, including a gold medal. So we're going to be hearing from three players, one of whom, Patrick Cantlay, is one of mine that I feel we should keep an eye on. I thought Rob Bolton wrote a nice, he calls it Power Rankings, PGAtour.com. And his number one in this week's Power Rankings is three-time FedEx Cup champion 2016, 2019, 2022. Rory McIlroy opens as the 3 seed, so he's poised to pile on. In 2024 alone and worldwide, he has 3 wins, 2 seconds, 1 third, 2 fourths, and a tie for 5th at the Olympics. He was also tied for 3rd here a year ago. Scheffler he has his number 2, which I thought was interesting. This is the 10th anniversary of the 28-year-old's debut at TPC Southwind. In 2 starts each of 3 iterations of events it's hosted, the gold medalist and top seed has been shut out of a top 10, as if he needs any more motivation. And again, and the reason why I think this is interesting, which is why I like good writing like this, is that you would automatically have assumed that number 1 would have been Scottie Scheffler. It's not. He has Rory. Scottie's number 2. Okay, well, number 3's got to be Xander. Right? No, he is Colin. Of Morikawa says he's 4th in the FedEx Cup, highest among all non-winners in 2024, and a reminder of how well he's played in the majors. Since TPC Southwind has hosted the FedEx Cup St. Jude, he's gone tie for 5th to tie for 13th, so expectations remain way up there. Then number 4 is Xander. Right? I mean, I think this is interesting. Do you find it as such as well? Of which he says the 2 seed has been a slow starter throughout his playoffs career, but it was elevated by 2 wins in majors this year, so times they are changing. He's also been a beast in limited field tournaments with no cut, but tied for 24th here last year. All right, so that's his discussion about where Xander is. Xander was asked by the media about what it feels like to be making your 4th start, or 8th start, I should say, this week. How does he think he's balanced this week in the playoffs overall, given his position in the standings? How would he sum up his experience at the Paris Olympics? And remember, he didn't play well in the final round. And they said, did you just chalk it up to one bad day? And did that disappointment of the Olympics feel like the disappointment you'd have in other events? And then finally, are you fully rested for the playoffs? What we start with again, how does it feel to be here for the 8th time?
Yeah, different feel than my rookie year. I feel like an old man now. A lot of young, really talented players out here. So happy to be here, coming in a pretty good spot, better than years past. So looking forward to the week. It's nice to break off some wins. Major championships, are always a bonus. You always dream of doing it, and to do it twice in 1 year is really special. So over the moon when I let my brain, go back to that time. But I'm too busy thinking about how I just finished my last event there in Paris. So maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, who knows? But just been trying to get ready for these playoffs. Yeah, and then we go to 6,500 feet, and then back to Atlanta where it's really hot, and gonna have to learn a new golf course. It looks like based on photos. So, my team's talking to me about managing things correctly, being smart about it. And to me, I'm just in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, if you're trying to win this thing, trying to be the best player over the course of this year, you're gonna have to just do better and be better than everyone else. So I'm not really too worried about, I got a really good team around me, making sure I'm eating the right things, doing the right things to stay in good shape physically and mentally. But push comes to shove, you're gonna have to be a dog at some point. Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience in France. I think everyone that sort of talked about competing, Tokyo versus Paris, Tokyo had so much potential. I played in Japan the first time we went, and being on that first tee with Rory and JT, I mean, we were looking around and felt like a major championship, 9, 10, 12 people, 12 rows deep on the first tee. And it was so bummed out that COVID hit and we weren't able to have fans in Tokyo. So we got rewarded with a lot of really good fans in Paris. Starting on Thursday, the atmosphere was unreal. I had, my two Pavone playing behind me, and it was chants pretty much all day long. And it was a really, really cool stadium-like feel. And, coming back to play on the PGA Tour is just different. I mean, it's a different pace. It's a different crowd. There isn't this sort of patriotism that's attached to it, that sort of brings everyone into it, I guess. So kind of back to your sort of individual feel almost. Yeah, I mean, I'm stubborn. I'm always, my team would be the first people to tell you that. They ask me how I'm doing. I'm fine. I'm always fine. But, I was probably more tired than I thought I was. And yeah, I take pride in finishing strong, and to do that I was pretty bummed out. I went from thinking I can, have a good look at gold to maybe silver, then to bronze, and then to, wow, I'm just spectating now. That's sort of what happened, in the last 10 or 9, I guess 8 holes of that tournament. So that was a bit of a bummer, just especially with how the fans were out there. Must have been such a cool feeling to be in the hunt with important shots coming down that stretch, 15 to 18. But yeah, I mean, I look at it, I just want to identify, sat down with Chris already, just try to identify sort of what happened. I don't want to get back into any old habits that I've been trying to get out of in this last 2 or 3 months working with him. And I think some old ones sort of slipped in there, and when I tried to put my foot down, it got worse, and paid the price for it heavily. I'm not going to lie, it's the weirdest feeling. I was watching from the sort of family section, the podium, and when Scotty was up there, and our flag was raised, and he started crying up there, and I was butthurt about my own round, and then I was sitting there like, yeah, this is pretty cool. So it was. I like to think I can be rational most times, but I felt so emotional in that state to where I was butthurt about how I played, and then sort of proud and happy that Scotty won it. And it's hard to explain, the swing of it. And then, out here this week playing with him these next 2 days, and we're all trying to beat our heads in. So it's a funny feeling. I was already thinking of how I can sort of rest and get back into, sharp mental state just for these last 3 weeks. It's going to be the biggest thing, just being able to focus. And obviously, you expect your body to make the leaps with the heat and the altitude and then the heat again. But to me, it's part of our job. We're supposed to be preparing for that all, during the off season and all year long. I remember, Rory's won the FedEx Cup so many times now, and I remember a few times when it was really hot in East Lake, I was playing with him, and I felt so overheated at times, and that really pissed me off. And he was just kind of cruising through, and I was like, man, this guy's in much better shape than I am. You know what I mean? So it was something I really try to work on to get a little bit better cardio shape, so I'm not, sitting there feeling like I'm going to explode at East Lake. You see guys look overheated all the time this week, East Lake, and all those. It just happens when it gets hot.
Okay, so that was interesting because he was talking about being able to get back into sharp mental focus, the way that he was referring to it. And I guess you could say that's understandable given the run that he has been on to stay at that high a peak level. is saying something. Now, the odds that Andrew just put on the screen is saying something as well. As we were going through Rob Bolton's power rankings, the bookies are seeing the power going to Scotty Scheffler, 3.5 to 1, and then Xander at 9 to 1. So it's clear from a bookie's perspective, which is not based upon emotion, it's based upon cold, hard business. How can they get you to bet and who they think is most likely to win? And it is dramatically saying that it's Scotty Scheffler. Rory McIlroy at 10 to 1, Colin Morikawa at 14 to 1, Ludwig's at 21, Tommy's at 25 to 1, Patrick Cantlay is 25 to 1. Cantlay on Rob's list power ranking is 8th, and he says the 2021 FedEx Cup champion has had a relatively quiet 2024, but he's still 11th in points. So this is the launch of a 3-week sprint. 4 top 5 finishes this year, including a tie for 3rd, a tie for 5th fortnight in June. Lost in a playoff here last year. Patrick Cantlay addressed the media as well yesterday, and he's obviously going to be asked about what he's feeling, what he's thinking coming in. Can he go on a run?
Yeah, always good to make the playoffs, and we've been here in Memphis the last few years, starting it off. Played well last year in this tournament. Looks like we're going to get, classic Memphis in August weather. It'll be hot. Hopefully dodge some thunderstorms, and should be a good week. The golf course is good. It demands, really good driving of the golf ball this week. I mean, you have to play from the fairway here. The rough, with it being Bermuda, it's really hard to control your golf ball out of the rough, and there's quite a lot of hazards around this golf course. So there's certain key tee shots, like 2 and 9, and the par four on the back, maybe 14 or 15, where you have to play out of the fairway or you're really at a disadvantage. So I feel like I have a good game plan for this golf course and should be a good week. I would say a little bit. There's a little bit of a reset, knowing that the points are more, and now we're playing really for FedEx Cup for the end of the year. But with just how it works with the tournaments, I still treat it like it's just another tournament. I've played well in the playoff events in the last few years, so hoping to keep that trend up. I'm sure a lot of people will start to ask themselves that when voting comes for Player of the Year. So I think some of it will, be decided by how they play these next 3 weeks. But Scotty's played unbelievable golf, and with the amount of tournament wins he's had, it's just been super impressive. I feel like the last couple of months of tournament golf I've played really well, and I've given myself some chances. My game's been better, and so this week, it's not too complicated. It's really an execution contest out there, and it looks like we're going to get really good weather, so that makes it even more of an execution contest. So picking the right targets and honestly staying patient around this golf course, it can sneak up and get you quick if you don't play it correctly. But if you play methodically, I feel like you can shoot 3, 4, 5 under every day and have a chance to win come Sunday. Well, it's definitely quieted down, and I agree with you. There hasn't been as much chatter the last few months, which has been nice. And I think that's just kind of the nature of it. There's going to be ebbs and flows depending on what kind of information comes out or what announcements. When you say, end in sight, it's always evolving. The PGA Tour's always been changing. Sports are always changing and trying to evolve and get better. So depends what you mean by what you define as the finish line. But I know all of us are working incredibly hard all the time to get the best outcome.
All right, so Patrick Cantlay feels that he's one to keep an eye on, obviously, as he progresses through these FedEx Cup playoffs, and rightfully so with his past success accordingly. What about Viktor Hovland, who seems to have come off the boil this year? It's interesting because, again, I've been quoting Rob Bolton, who I respect greatly in his opinion and perspective, and he has 15 that the last of which was Russell Henley on this list that are part of his power rankings. One that's not part of his power rankings is none other than the defending champion, Viktor Hovland, who was asked about his mindset coming in and the state of his game.
Yeah, it hasn't been my best year. Had struggled for basically the whole year, so it's been a little bit challenging, but I feel like I'm headed in the right direction, and just kind of pumped about that. Just seeing some improvements in practice, and hopefully that will translate into this week, because I do need a nice week this week, and hopefully get some momentum for the next couple weeks. Yeah, not really. That was kind of just a weekend where I just made a few putts. I missed on the right sides, and I was able to score well. The first couple of rounds, I about hit it the same, but that golf course is very penal off the tee and into the greens. It really penalizes the bad shots, but if you're playing well, you can shoot low, I just missed it in the wrong spots because I didn't have that much control over the ball flight. So the second round, I was just at mercy of the randomness of where my ball was going. And then over the weekend, I made a lot of putts and was able to score well. And that's always nice, but the quality of the shots were not there. So I was still a little upset with that, but I've been here in the States for a week and spent some good time with Joe, and I feel like we're on the right track. So that's kind of, that's where I feel like at least the optimism is coming from, just getting finally a good week to just practice every day and get into a nice rhythm. Basically, my pattern got off. The things that I did in my swing that made me good, that made me able to predict a certain ball flight, I went home and tried to do a certain move, not necessarily because I had in mind that I wanted to change my pattern. I knew my pattern was really good, but I was upset that I wasn't cutting the ball as much as I would have liked. My ball flight started to become a little bit of a draw, which is fine. I was still hitting it good, but sometimes visually I would have liked to see the cut. And then in the off season, I made a conscious effort to try to cut the ball more. And when I did that, I ruined a relationship that happens in my swing that makes it really difficult for me to control the face coming down. And so now it's just kind of me learning from that. I know exactly why it happened. I know exactly what happens because I've gotten myself measured. And now it's just kind of a process of getting back to where I was. But at least I know I have all the data and the facts on the table to go about it.
Xander and Scotty have both had historic years this year. If you could choose which one to have, which one would you choose and why?
Choose what?
Between Xander and Scotty's year.
Ooh. 2 majors, that sounds pretty nice to me. Yeah.
There you go, Viktor. 2 majors. That sounds pretty nice to me, as well as give us an update on where he's at with his game. Doesn't really sound like he's at the exact spot that he wants to be yet, perhaps even to be competitive this week. We shall see. More of the Fairways of Life show coming up in just a moment. We have more big names and major champions to hear from, plus an intriguing video that has emerged from Ben Hogan at 29 years old that's been colorized. We're going to compare the 29-year-old Hogan's golf swing to some other golfers that same age from the modern era and see what you think about that. Plus news about a creators tournament, call it that. I guess you could call it influencers or personalities. What does it mean to the world of golf? What does it mean to you guys? Are you in favor of it? Yes or no? More coming up after this. It is presented by the PGA Tour Superstore. Yep, they are the #1 golf retailer coast to coast, and rightfully so, because of their big, beautiful stores, which they continue to expand, but also because of their people. Shop with the pros at the PGA Tour Superstore.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Super easy to hit. Introducing the new PXG Black Ops irons, our first game-improving iron.
It's a larger face heel to toe.
It launches the ball high in the air and really far.
Much higher levels of forgiveness. You set that club down, it creates a lot of confidence. It's supported by this X-Core Holland material.
And that's where you get improved ball speed. If you're looking for a distance, forgiveness, and feel, Black Ops iron is going to be for you.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
All right, welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. Lydia Ko spoke in advance of the ISPS Handa Women's Scottish Open coming off the gold medal at the Olympic Games. Lydia spoke about that as well as plans moving down the road.
I actually don't know if it has sunk in yet. I didn't sleep that Saturday night just because of travel logistics and all that. So I, went to sleep for the first time on Sunday night, and it was pretty surreal. Woke up and I was like, was that a dream? Did that just really happen? But yeah, super exciting. I've gotten an overwhelming amount of support from the players and just people I know, and just very grateful for literally this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. A lot of the ladies that are already in the Hall of Fame reached out, and especially somebody like Nancy Lopez. Every time I see her, she gives me good vibes, always words of wisdom, and for somebody like her to take me under her wing and support me, it means a lot. But there's just been so many people, like Meg and Beth said they had cried watching me, and it means a lot. And I've seen some of my good friends here as well, so yeah, it's pretty surreal. I was talking to one of the moms yesterday, and really brought tears to my eyes again. And I think as a player and somebody that's involved, we all know how hard it is. So it's we're all going on this journey together. And for so many of the people that I play alongside and see them to, support me like this, it means a lot. And I think that's the most, grateful thing of all of this. Yeah, super cool. Molly gave me the warmest welcome to the Hall of Fame on that Saturday. And, I think I've said multiple times before, I didn't really think I was capable of getting in any sort of Hall of Fame. And to say that now I've gotten the Hall of Fame, at my sport, and something that has given me already so much. It's surreal, and I know all the ladies and legends that are in the Hall of Fame. they are the greats, and they kind of led this pathway for us to have this kind of opportunity. So to say that I'm part of that kind of history book is really cool. And I think I almost need like a few weeks off to like really take everything in of all of this.
Very neat, very cool comments. As I mentioned to you in yesterday's show, that I think that Lydia carries herself with such dignity that she's already marked herself as one of the greats by virtue of what she's accomplished, and then she carries herself with such dignity on top of that. And we'll see. She's got one more major coming up this season, of course, at the AIG Women's Open at St Andrews. In fact, I'm flying out today, so we're going to wrap up today's show in a little bit, and I'll get ready to start my travel. We're going to stop by Ireland first, and then from Ireland head over to Scotland once we get to the weekend, and then we'll be broadcasting live from the AIG Women's Open, broadcasting live from St Andrews coming up in the next few days, which we cannot wait. All right, so I saw this on social media last night. This is courtesy of Golf Digest, and it's a colorized, rare video of Ben Hogan's golf swing at 29 years old. So I would estimate, I didn't do the investigation of exactly what this is from, but I would estimate that it's from 1941. And I don't know, Dom. I think it's really cool. I don't know how the colorization process goes from a black and white film, but it certainly is interesting to watch Ben Hogan, who is generally credited with being the finest ball striker of all time, and to watch him actually launch into a ball at this age.
Well, what I love is what Andrew did here, which is obviously this is not, if you found this on social media, the swing is going 10 times faster. Andrew slowed it down a ton, so it's practically frame by frame, which I think makes it look really, really interesting, Matt. When you look at it frame by frame like that, what do you see?
A number of different things. First of all, obviously his swing was flat, but at the top, Andrew, could you take it up and I'll tell you to stop right there. That's different than the top of the modern golf swing where you see the players, the power players with the pronated left wrist. In Hogan's case, his wrists, as you can see there, are cupped. The shaft is almost John Daly-like in terms of how far that club head comes down, and it still has more coming down to do it. It's just where I had Andrew stop it. But there are some other features to his golf swing that are very much, I don't call it even before their time. The way that he uses ground force, the way that he clears his hips through. Andrew, go ahead and just let that play, and then I'm going to have you show us something one more time, okay? Let it play, and I'm going to give you another stop point. And what I want to stop point here is talk about the modern player and the way the modern player shifts into. So go ahead and let this go. And again, you can see at the top, you'll see how far that club head goes. See, watch it, way, way down. And then right here, see how he has shifted his weight to his left side. Right? And then you'll almost see, which is also typical of the modern player, where they're using ground force to give them more power into it. Go ahead and let it play. Right there. And what you also see with Ben Hogan is you see the classic reverse C, which was not unusual for a persimmon-headed driver at that time, where they're trying to get it, they're trying to impact the initial launch angle and flight. What I think is fascinating, Andrew, compare this to me. Let's start with Brooke Henderson, because I was trying to think of a modern player that had that far of an extension in their backswing. And the reason why I wanted to do this was to illustrate what I believe is how far ahead of his time Ben Hogan was. He wasn't the only one at that time. Sam Snead, Byron Nelson swaying like this. There were others, but it's still remarkable to see. All right, so first of all, can you take us back to the backswing and stop there as best you can? So look at that. Did you see the position of the club head on both golfers? Now, Hogan has that lifted left heel, effectively giving him more turn, if you please, whereas on the right, you have that modern golf swing, which is designed to cause as much of a coiling and then a snap between the upper body and the lower body. And take me down to that point where I had you stop before, Andrew, if you would, right there. And look at the way that they're using the ground force coming in. And it's interesting that you're trying to time these as best you can. You can see Hogan, who at this point probably weighed all of maybe 130, 140 pounds, was using every ounce of what he had to slam into the back of that golf ball. Okay, let's just play through and let's. All right, now who is this? That looks like Viktor Hovland to me. Let's do the comparison of Viktor Hovland to Ben Hogan. Again, you can see how much flatter Hogan is in terms of where the modern player is higher and has the hands away from them. And you can see the way that Viktor on the right clears through and gets his weight onto his left side. You're not seeing the completion of his swing in this thing, unfortunately. You'd see really his weight would clear out, whereas Hogan has more of a pronounced reversed C. You can see it with his entire body. Do you have Ludwig Oberg? We can do a comparison, because Ludwig's a much taller man than Ben Hogan was, but there you can kind of see, and that finish is what I was referring to. But I think the video that we're seeing here is absolutely fascinating, and I think the slow motion version allows us to see much more effectively Hogan's positions. Could you go back to your slow motion Ben Hogan alone? There's another point that I wanted to show you that I think is fascinating with Ben Hogan, and it's the way that he gets his right pocket as close to replacing his back right pocket and his backswing. So show us his backswing, and I'll tell you when to stop. Right. Keep going. There. You see what I'm saying? He's not sliding to the right. He's turning. He's coiling around his body, and that sets up everything else that he does from there. It's absolutely fascinating video, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of seeing it and maybe doing your own analysis, especially when you compare it to the modern players. And he obviously has, you could tell by the way that he comes up at the top, actually cups his wrist. He holds that angle so long into impact. It's just a fascinating piece of video. And again, this video that you're watching is courtesy of Golf Digest. I found it this morning on social media. All right, when we come back, I want to go down the road of social media. I want to talk to you about how people are consuming their golf right now, and it is very much defined by age. And is it something that you like, this Creator Classic that's getting a massive platform coming up? Is that something that you will be engaged in? I can assure you somebody will be. More of the Fairways of Life show coming up right after this.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The best feeling iron I've ever hit. Introducing the new Gen 7 irons, the greatest leap forward in irons technology, in performance, in PXG history. Our new quantum core material explodes off the face. Are you kidding me? The Gen 7 irons deliver groundbreaking new levels of forgiveness, speed, distance, and feel. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at that trajectory. Just phenomenal. Gen 7, it doesn't get any better.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm going to go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Getting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
Welcome back to Fairways of Life Show. Pleasure to have your company, folks, on this Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are looking forward to the start of the FedEx Cup Playoffs, the FedEx St Jude Championship this week. Air times for the FedEx St Jude Championship will be accordingly starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Same time on Friday from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is the window. Saturday will go from 1 to 3 on Golf Channel and then 3 to 6 on NBC. Sunday, noon to 2 on Golf Channel and 2 to 6 on NBC. The FedEx St. Jude Championship on ESPN Plus starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. all the way up until 6 p.m. Again, these times are Eastern. And then PGA Tour Radio, which you can hear on PGAtour.com. You can hear it in the PGA Tour app. You can hear it, as you can see there, if you subscribe to National Satellite Service, Sirius XM, Thursday and Friday from noontime until 6 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. So when I was on PGAtour.com during the overnight hours checking out Rob's power rankings, there was this article about Creators Cup. And the headline says, meet all 16 creators competing in the Creator Classic presented by Blackstone. And my first question is, I've never heard of golf influencers, golf personalities referred to as creators. They are, obviously, but I've never heard them referred to them that way. So it's the Creator Classic. And that I just wonder why. You know what I'm saying? When I see something like that, it's like, why did you change the name of who they are, what they are? And lots of times when stuff like that happens, it can come down to rights. Like there could be an influencer's classic already or cup or whatever. I don't know. All I'm saying, I just thought it was interesting, right? So anyway, this article reads, the Creator Classic sponsored by Blackstone will take place Wednesday, August 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time at East Lake Golf Club the day before play begins at the Tour Championship. 16 golf content creators will compete on the back nine of the newly restored East Lake. The tournament will consist of 8 holes of gross stroke play, then a playoff between the top 4 finishers. The Creator Classic will be streamed live via the PGA Tour's YouTube channel, Peacock, and ESPN Plus, as well as the PGA Tour channel on Pluto TV, Roku, Samsung TV Plus, Tubi, and it's XUMO. How do you say that one, Dom? Zumo, Dom says is the correct pronunciation, among other fast platforms. The Creator Classic will be produced to the quality of a premium broadcast, featuring live shot link powered by CDW scoring/data, TrackMan shot tracing, and rich on-screen graphics. Hosts will be in the booth with talent covering the on-course action, while the players and participants will capture and share their own content throughout the tournament. For those looking to experience excitement in person, the event will be open to anyone with a Wednesday ticket to the Tour Championship. Pro Shop Studios, the production company behind the Netflix hit Full Swing, will partner with PGA Tour Entertainment to run on-ground and broadcast production. So there's just a piece of it. And then it runs through. I'll give you the names in case you're wondering. Mac Butcher, George Bryan IV, Wesley Bryan, Amy Cho, Garrett Clark, Brad Dulkey, Peter Finch, Gabby Golf Girl. It's her last name is D. Gaspiris, Gabby D. Gaspiris, Luke, I assume it's Won, it's Kwon. What do you think it is, Dom? Quan? Micah Morris, Mason Nutt, and Nick Stubby, a.k.a. Fat Perez. And then Paige Spiranak, Roger Steele, Tyler Toney, Sean Walsh he's from Good. They have some of them, they have names next to them, so you know where they're from. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at with this is, how do you gauge who engages? Are you interested in engaging? Did you, Don, by the way, did you do any type of question of the day today, and by any chance was it related to this?
Yes and yes is the
Okay.
answer to that question. I was
I had
pretty
a feeling.
straightforward. Do you like this Creator Classic event with the social media golf celebs? That's
Okay.
what my question was. I had 4 options. Yes, it's very cool. It's modern. No, it's just unnecessary. I don't care about this. Don't care. And then I have an undecided in-between category. Currently, 7% think it's very cool. 13% think, nah, this is just completely unnecessary. I don't like it. 20% are undecided. They're in between. They're like, nah, I don't know where I stand. And then 60% of the people just do not care about this. I don't care, they say. 60% is a pretty big number.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling on where people and how people get their golf content is, first of all, I feel like if it floats your boat, why should I have a vote? Well, who cares? If you like it and you engage in it and you're entertained by it, that's great. Consume what you want, where you want, when you want, how you want. That's good. I think what I think is really interesting about it is, does the popularity of social media golf and these individuals, there's another one, Grant Horvath, that's very popular. If you look at the no laying up guys in terms of what they created and opening up the pathways of getting golf content in a different way. Now, I realize most of the people in this Creator Classic, I think it's safe to say, make their content based upon shots that they hit, et cetera. I don't know about, maybe Paige would be different in that regard in terms of, I don't want to define them for them. You know, they could define themselves. But I guess my feeling is on it is this, and the fact that the tour is clearly getting so invested in it, and they're getting so invested in it because there's big numbers following these individuals. Those numbers, by and large, are from a demographic that's 35 and under. Well, that's the demographic they want to reach for the future of the game, right? And I don't know. I guess I look at it and go, is this feeding a demand, a need in the marketplace that traditional golf, either competition or broadcasts or what have you, we're not meeting? And you get to know these individuals and whatever it is, whether it's trick shots or matches that they're involved in, whatever the reason is that they're engaging to you, is connecting with these huge numbers, and by and large, as I mentioned, the numbers tend to be of a younger demographic. And I have found when it comes to marketing, and the golf industry went through this in the last probably 3 to 5 years, where, particularly last 3, probably better definition, where sales were so robust, whether we're talking about tee times, destination resorts, golf equipment sales, particularly like golf ball sales, etc., that sales were so robust that you didn't only have to market to the people that are buying your premium product at full margin. Now you could start to market to the future of the game. Because if you look at the demographic breakdown, golf is no different than any other major sales category. It's an 80-20, where 20% buy 80% of the full price, full margin product. And in golf, that 20% are the absolute slam-on demographic, which is late 40s and up. By comparison to the general population, substantial household income, generally highly educated, et cetera, all that go into that coveted demographic that we've heard about for years that golf solicits and golf nails. This is a different demographic. So when you're killing it from a sales standpoint, why not go after who will be your buyer in 5, 10, 20 years? Why not? And start to establish brand commitment, brand loyalty, et cetera. And that's the reason why I think that we see some bigger companies starting to align themselves with some of these people. What's interesting now is as the economy, the golf economy, there are indications that it's slowing. And when that happens, you tend to see a shift in the marketplace in terms of message points and who they're talking to, because now they need to move product today. It isn't about what we're going to do tomorrow. It's about, well, no, we got product backing up. We got to make sure we clear this stuff. We got to make sure we book rooms. We got et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of see all of that coming together on this, and I look at it and go, well, you know what? If these so-called creators, again, I've always known them to be called influencers, right, for one reason or another. So if these influencer creators are attracting a fresh demographic and people are entertained by it, I don't know why there'd be a problem with that. I don't see why there'd be a problem with that. Obviously, people are with this event, they're also commercially engaging in it. They're willing to say, yeah, this is something of interest. And this isn't the first event that's featured some of these people. Fat Perez, I've seen in a number of different things. I get a kick out of him. I think, again, I'm one of those who thinks this is if it's good for you, it's good for me. What are your thoughts with all this, Dom? Given the fact that 60% in your survey have said that they don't care, which also makes me wonder if it's not a reflection of demographic.
I think it's entirely demographic. I would probably, on my own survey, I would fall probably in the in-between category, I think. I think that this is an extremely complicated conversation, and I think this conversation is not about golf. I think this conversation is about generation and content consumption. The average person now, today, is watching their phone roughly 5 hours a day is screen time on your phone. That's the average person, all ages, across the board. Right now. Now, of that time, roughly 3 hours of that, again, this is all ages, is watching videos. You're just watching videos on your phone. So if you're talking about how we consume our content, when it gets dicey and different and weird and good or bad, depending on how you look at it, is when that content is broken down. So, for example, based on the research that I had done when you were talking there, through Statista and a few other sources, the average person on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter or X is under 30, essentially under 30. That's a vast majority of the users. And that group is when they're doom scrolling, right, the 3 hours I mentioned, we're talking about 1.72 seconds is like per video. That's what they're actually getting into their head. 2 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Now, the average person in terms of age, right, more like our age group, well, you and I are a little bit apart, but my age group watches on average about an hour or an hour and a half less of video time on my phone than the current generation, the younger generation. Okay. So the younger generation is consuming more, right, on their phone, a lot more than me, than you, than our parents, and they're consuming much faster. Now, the argument about whether that's good or bad is a complicated argument. And I think as you get older, you tend to be the guy on your lawn with the rake. And I will put myself in that category. I will go on record right now and say, I don't understand it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying I don't understand it. For example, I have an 8-year-old son. My 8-year-old son loves Minecraft, which is some stupid video game that I don't understand. He likes watching other people play Minecraft on YouTube. He will sit, and we're a little strict with our kids in terms of screen time, so he's not watching a lot. But like, if we say you can watch a half an hour of TV today, he'll request, I want to watch this other person play Minecraft. I don't get it. I don't understand. Makes no sense to me. So I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just generational. It's so different. So when we're talking about specifically like this Creator Classic, I don't consume those videos. I'm a father. I have 2 young kids. I do this show. I'm very busy. I don't watch, I don't find it interesting to see 2 people that are amateurs that I don't know play a golf match for 2 hours on my phone. That doesn't interest me. I'm not saying it's stupid and it shouldn't be allowed. I think it's great. Like you said, you're engaging a younger group of people. That's great for golf. Long-term, 100%. Totally support that. I don't get it. It's just not my jam. So that's why I would say I'm undecided. But I think another side of this is the last thing I'll say, Matt, statistically. And this is as of June. So this is very, very updated here. 40% of all television now, is done via streaming. And I'm not talking about like cable TV. I'm talking about streaming. I'm talking about Netflix, Amazon Prime. I'm talking about Disney Plus. I'm talking about just watching stuff on YouTube, like you might be watching this program on YouTube right now. 40% of all usage now, as of last month, is that. 47% is cable and broadcast. So that is still majority, but streaming is starting to creep in here. So it's a very complicated discussion about content, not necessarily about golf.
Yeah, but relative to golf in this event, you just put out a question of the day where 7% are all for it. Last time I asked, you can give us the current numbers, but the first one was all for it, unnecessary, undecided, or don't care. And you're putting yourself, see, I would put myself in the first category where I'm all for it. I don't see what this hurts. But you're putting yourself in the third category of undecided, if I don't mean to speak for you.
I wrote undecided / in between, and that's where I would put myself. Yeah.
Where are the numbers right now?
I don't get it, but I think I understand why it connects with the younger folks.
Yeah.
I thought I was younger. I guess I'm old now. I am old now, apparently.
You are kind of telling people to get off your lawn. I guess that the thing with me is that if it connects, it really doesn't, the why doesn't matter. If people are entertained, they're entertained. Isn't that enough? So where's the voting right now? And then let me know what some of the comments you're getting in from people if you can.
So it's 10% no, 10% yes, 25% in between, and 55% I don't care. So it's changed a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay.
So most people just don't care. People, I think a lot of the comments I'm getting, I think a good example of that would be Caneshow wrote in, we are a bit tired of influencers, aren't we? And
that's a different, but again,
nature to that.
But that also goes to your broader discussion, because what we're seeing in marketing now is that people are starting to be less and less impressed with so-called influencers, where they look at someone and go, other than notoriety, I'm not talking about golf necessarily, I'm talking at large. Other than notoriety, do they have credibility or expertise in the particular field in which they are trying to impart to you a message of you need to engage in this product or service, right? That's where I was just recently reading an article on marketing, and they were talking about these influencers that are paid in the marketplace. And I've had the discussion with you guys before about very, very high level golf executives who have said to me that they don't have, it's very, very difficult. They don't have the ability to directly measure ROI, return on investment, for what they pay these influencers. And I think the public at a certain point goes, yeah, if you are someone that's out there trying to make your living off of your personality or your looks or your ability in a particular area, again, I'm not talking about golf only, it's whatever area that you are a so-called influencer. If you are doing that, then it's clear why you accepting money from these different brands makes sense. But are you actually vested in that brand? Do you truly understand it? And is it the best option for the people that you're sending that message out to, your constituency? That's good old-fashioned, old-school marketing discussions, isn't it? So I do understand that. What else are you hearing from the people?
No, Bob just wrote in and said, I'm with Dom. I'll watch it if nothing else is on.
Oh, that's okay.
So I guess it's another one of the undecided territory. I just...
Yeah, but that's an open mind. That's someone going,
I don't think it's rocket
if there's
science,
not
though.
something else that really appeals to me that I know about, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm okay with that too.
I don't think it's rocket science. There are three categories of golfers or brand building. There's the young people who might be consuming what we're discussing right now, who don't have families and don't have money. They are not spending money in golf, full stop.
Well, it's an investment.
However,
it has to be viewed as an investment in the future.
In 10 or 20 years, they might be.
Correct.
I think there's the middle group, which is me, right? I'm 40. I've got young kids. I'm very busy. I love golf. I consume golf. I spend a little bit in golf. I'd like to spend more, but I don't have time, and I'm still young. So I can't do as much as I would like to do. And then you've got the guy watching right now at his country club who's 62, who is semi-retired, who is spending. He's buying new irons. He's buying new drivers. He is absolutely spending product. But I'm pretty confident that that person is not watching any of the stuff we're talking about. He is watching the FedEx Cup Playoffs right now. That's what he's consuming. And he's buying irons every 6 months. And that's the three categories. I don't think it's rocket science. That's who consumes golf. You're chasing the future. You've got people who are like me, who are committed, but only as committed as I can be. I'm young and I've got kids and I'm busy. And then you've got people who are fully committed in spending and have the money to spend and do it. I mean, is this rocket science?
No, the latter part of what you said is the reason why golf has been able to be as prominent as it is in terms of advertising revenue and who it reaches, because of that coveted demographic. It reaches the demographic of the guy that you described as being at a country club that can buy the car that he wants. He can travel where he wants to go, he or she, it should be. They have the disposable income to do what they want to, and they do it. And that's the reason why the finance companies, particularly luxury automobiles, all of these companies, Rolex with their association with the game of golf on so many different levels, they're trying to reach that demographic because golf as a vehicle is a very, very powerful way to do it. All I'm saying is that we may be seeing right before our eyes another demographic in the game of golf that is being reached through this programming and through this entertainment, through these personalities, influencers, creators, as they're being called in this context. And it's finding an audience. And I'm not disputing, you're right, the audience is young. And so if you look at it and go, hey, I get it, like the television networks are all, the elixir is to get that audience. They all want that audience. However, the people who pay to advertise on all these programs, yeah, obviously they're interested in the future of their brand, but they're also going, you know what? It's not my job to make sure that I finance your future growth, being TV or whoever it is, whatever media entity it is. I need to sell my product or service right now, or I'm not going to be around in 10 or 20 years when we helped you guys build this audience that we funded. And so that's the balance. That's what they're going through. So if they find a way that this works on both sides, more power to it. For me, like I said, I'm in the first category. I'm in the all forward category. What are you guys in? Interesting conversation. Whether or not I'll watch the thing, again, now it comes down to what I think you said. Bob wrote in and said, if I'm free, if I'm around, if I'm not doing anything else, if it's on, I'm curious. Yeah, I am curious. Although when I see names on there from people that have competed and been members of the PGA Tour, I don't know how much of a competition it's going to be against the rest, in all fairness. All right, hope you guys have a great Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoy the FedEx Cup Playoffs getting started, the FedEx St Jude Championship. The next time that we will be together, I will be across the pond getting ready in St. Andrews for the AIG Women's Open. Cannot wait. You guys be well. Goodbye for now.